Audio check, ladies and gentlemen. Audio check. Will be with you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday, February 20th. Yes, February 20th, 2024. We missed you guys. We missed you. That we, meaning me and my co-host, who? Pedro Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, in the house.
What up, my people? How you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well and doing really good. Man, it was a long weekend.
It was a long time. We haven't been on the air in a while. Both of us were talking offline that we miss it. We miss it when we're not there. We don't get that rush of coming on the air and keeping our peoples informed of what's going on, telling jokes, stories, and where in life we've screwed up.
Yes, we are good at that. And we show it a lot too. There's we constantly eating humble pie, but I think that's good. That means we're learning. We're willing to take risk and we're willing to learn. So,
willing to learn is right, and we were getting into it. Usually, the first show of the week, we do something called a week ahead, which I didn't put on any of the draft body or notices or whatever posts, social media posts, or whatever. But we'll be talking about what's coming up this week. Also, the interesting thing that launched today was the Starknet finally launched. And I haven't been following them a lot. These big projects that start, I usually don't follow them anyway until they get going. But they kicked it off in an amazing tune of billions of dollars in valuation and market cap. So we'll be talking about that. And how that plays in how I like to make connections between things. So you can better understand things. And how the launching of Starknet could possibly kick off the altcoin season. We're seeing Bitcoin start to waffle a little, and so if it's going to
killer AI
or killer AI, right? So we're seeing Bitcoin waffle a little bit here. It's going, you can see it's up to 51,000 here on my coin market cap thing here. It briefly hit 53,000, had a pullback. Is it going to keep going up? Is it going to pull back? Pedro's going to tell us in a little bit here. But if it's going to continue waffling, that gives the alts a chance. And the alts got a little kick in the butt today from Starknet because it's, I can't remember the name of the term, part of today's show. A level 2 Ethernet roll-up chain. And it's going to have big things. It has big things on it. So a lot of people had to buy ETH today to bridge it over to Starknet. And it caused all sorts of prices to go kaplooey and that type of stuff. But anyway, before we get into Pedro and the BTC, I always like to thank everyone that watches this show. Chuck Jansen says, finally I can get some treatment for this DYOR Media Network withdrawals. sound like my
That's awesome. I
ex-wife.
love
My first one.
it. That's good.
Need some treatment for that. Pedro. Pedro,
Yeah,
do you have an
it's Friday.
updated social stream link? It may have changed again.
Let me check here real.
Mayor of Akron back in.
Yes, I do.
Was a
Yes.
long break. Mr. Anti-Ruggers. Took me a while to connect those two there. Connect Telegram name
Yes.
to YouTube name. Super Chat Tuesday. Oh, we'd love to have a Super Chat Tuesday. That would be great.
Yeah.
Dara's coming into us from Madrid. I don't have any sound effects from Madrid yet, but I did forget to play.
Using the whole system.
Yeah, I forgot to play that. I just simply don't have one for Akron. I could get the Ohio State song or something like that. I was a resident of Ohio for a long time. And Jason Spurgis, not Sturgis, not riding your Harley to Sturgis, but Spurgis. Excited what today brings. New follower from last week, but love all the info here. Well, you're going to get some new info now, hopefully. Pedro, what in the world is going on with BTC?
That's a great question. Let's go and check it out here real quick. All right. So I expected to see us a nice little push through, but we've hit this. And I don't know how I missed this. I mean, I thought we were going to push through this because this area here, which is basically what happened. No, there we are.
Oh, and as a background for anyone listening, especially you, Chuck, around 1 o'clock we'll hit Operation Phoenix and Stag. And so if you want to put the words in those communities about that, that's about when that'll happen. Sorry, Pedro.
Also, that's all right. And also Starknet. We're actually hitting the area already that I talked about a couple hours ago about us coming down to. So, that's our area that I'm looking at going like, ooh, that's a nice little area right there. Since it just exploded, right? So, so let's go ahead and talk about this here real quick. So I didn't really expect this to be much of an area that was going to stop us, just simply because of some of the stuff that was happening within Bitcoin. I honestly thought we were going to, basically we were going to kind of blow right through this area. So unfortunately, well, I wouldn't say unfortunately, I mean, it's just simply areas of buyers and sellers, right? I mean, not unfortunate anything. It's just how the market works. But I didn't expect us to see such a kind of a chill mode here. So I'm going to point this out here so you guys can sit there and see what we're actually playing with right now. So we're at this supply level right here. This is what we've been banging our head against for the last week. Now, granted, this is a weekly zone. So it makes sense why we'd bang our head against it for about a week. But I do expect us to see this push through simply because we've actually bought through this area already. You can see here. So I'm going to set this here simply because I expected us to push it. But this is going to be a little delay here just simply because we potentially could see a sell-off down to that 48,000 area, which is sitting right here. At this,
you're getting hate.
Line.
The internet's stringing you up in effigy already there, Pedro, just for mentioning that. Telling you, it's only price go up mode now. No price go down mode. Like caveman, price go up, me Bitcoin master. Arrgh.
And it very much could. I'm not saying that we couldn't. I mean, look, if you look at the smaller time frames, we're putting in. I mean, there's not a lot of supply here that we're going to hit on the smaller time frames. Okay, so I'm not saying that we're not, but you also need to understand where when I said we should easily push through this area within a week or two. I expect us to come up to the 57,000 mark. Well, thinking that we were going to fly through this area here, but it's there's been a lot of trading through this area already.
Ka-ching in the house.
Oh, what up, ka-ching? And so like as I'm looking at this area, I do expect us to see. I'm not saying that we're not going to go up. I'm just saying that there are sellers sitting here, so expect a little bit of a sell-off. And when I say sell, I mean just more of like a small pullback into this area before we start to push up even higher. But with this caveat, if we do sell off, there's a lot of support underneath us on the daily, weekly, area when it comes to our moving averages as well as demand. So it's not a bad thing. It's just something that we need to be mindful of. The other part behind this, we're seeing a sell-off at the beginning of the week. And I always say this, if we see a sell-off at the beginning of the week, what should we see then towards the mid and end of the week? A rally, right? They first put the sellers in, and then they sell off, buy in low, and then literally push it higher. So that's a good thing, right? So we're coming in here, and so expecting that, I would want to see the market pull back potentially down to last week's lows, right? Where it'd be 48,000, potentially 45,000, where this 8-period moving average is sitting, okay? And then see another rally back up and create a new higher high here. So what that would look something like this, something like, I just immediately went into rap mode there. So it should look something kind of similar to this right here. So it's something like this, boom, and then boom, boom, pop, right? Something that would look like in that nature. So, and there we go. So that's what I see coming up here. Again, we've got that supply area up at that 52,000 to 59,000. I'm expecting us to get to there. If we do see a sell-off from here, because it is the beginning of the week, and that's what it should be doing because institutions are now involved, and this is actually how they trade. They never buy anything for retail. They always buy on discount, and so they're going to push the market down, then to push it up. So that's what we want to sit there and see, knowing that the market is healthy and moving correctly. Now we're seeing stuff drop off right now with the instant and I want to talk about this because again, this is something that is important to look at. Now, the couple of weeks ago, or I think it was last week, I wanted to bring up about the bond markets and what was actually happening. So we're seeing here on the bond market, okay, we're seeing a rally higher. Not the bond market, the treasury market. So yield market, it pushing higher, and you can see here that we put a lower high in, and then now we put a higher high in this mark. We are playing off of this 8-period moving average, and this 8-period moving average is getting weak. But again, it's only because we have some resistance with that 20-period moving average on the weekly. But we pierced it from previous last week. We pierced it, and most likely because we're going down first into the week, we're going to see a push back up and potentially come up to the 465 area on our on the
welcome Pit Monk to the house. Thank you for joining us. I thought the man might have been dead, but he's been busy. Welcome back, Pit Monk.
And then right here, let's check this out for the 1 month. 1 month is still steady. 1 month treasury yield is still steady at 5.394 area, and so we really haven't seen much movement here. We've held steady at this level here, and so again, this concerns me in the aspect of it basically just screams we're not going anywhere. We're gonna stay here, and the fact that we're seeing the 2-year mark on the monthly. All right, you can see here that it is showing. And this is important. We're following, again, that 8-period moving average. And once we clear that 200-period moving average on the U.S. Treasury bond 2-year, we should see a pretty hard rally from here back up to the all-time highs, which is going to be the 535. This is why I say that I expect Powell to come in and say either stay hawkish, where he's more saying we're not dropping rates, or saying we're actually going to raise rates. Right, it all depends on what's going to happen at this week's unemployment announcement. So
that's a good point. I forgot that this week also was unemployment.
Right, and so Powell is trying to slow down the economy in a sense, or at least whether people say we're going to have a soft landing or we're going to have hard landing. I listened to quite a few commenters, and there's definitely a mixture of both, right? More of the media says we're going to have a soft landing, or we've had a type of soft landing, and a lot of the people that are independent are saying we're coming in for a hard landing. Just wait, when we're looking at banks, local banks, a lot of them are failing, a lot of them are having a hard time.
Oh, I heard some bad news about banks today. Oof.
Yeah.
It was grim. Grim.
Well, we talked about this last week, right? When I was talking about the and I hate to, and I don't want to beat a broken record here. Okay, so this is not where we're going to go into, but the fact is, dang, we went down even lower. Oh, we were at. I was hoping that was going to be up. All right, we went down 1,000 points. We were at 419,900. Now we're at 18,900 for 2024 housing medium sale prices. So new homes, and the same thing. We had a smaller sell-off, not as big, for existing home prices. So I think people can actually see what's actually happening with with interest rates, and because interest rates are looking like they're going to continue higher, and you've heard, and I know a lot of people haven't heard, don't want to hear about this other part, but the U.S. dollar, the Dixie here, not the DAX, excuse me, where are you, Dixie, Mr. Dix? There you are. The U.S. dollar here is dropping here, so I'm hearing a lot of people saying they expect to see this thing fall from here. And from a technical standpoint, honestly, it does look like that. It looks like we're going to see another sell-off here, right? And so high interest rate, low dollar, potentially could be a
crank up the exports.
Situation. Exactly. So, it also could be the fact is that if we do see a sell-off, and then we don't have, well, that means people want stuff from us, and then basically see a higher or we'll see more employment because people need workers to produce stuff. And then what happens is, what does Jerome have to do? He has to raise rates, which will then do what to the housing market, which then will mess certain things up. So it's going to be really interesting.
Quite the balancing act the Fed has to do, huh?
Yeah, I'm glad I don't got to be Jerome, bro.
Yeah, no shit.
For sure. Talk about a hard job.
It's like juggling chainsaws, like 14 of them. Like, oh, okay, which hand is going to get chopped off this time?
Yeah, absolutely. And Mr. Lawton actually says it really good. We could basically see no landing at all, hard or soft. We could, the U.S. economy could really start to do even better because then inflation kicks even more, right? What are they trying to do? You know what? I was talking to a gentleman this weekend, and he said, you Americans, you guys are on the top of the food chain here. And he goes, if you're going to keep that debt and you're going to stay still on the top of the food chain, you've got to have higher inflation because you've got to be able to pay that down.
I know.
You know what I'm
it
saying?
Sucks. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, finish up that thought.
So jumping back to Bitcoin, because there's a reason why I went here. With that said, you need then a sell-off of the S&P 500. With the sell-off of the S&P 500, which we're starting to see, right? We saw some softness in the S&P 500, and I've talked about the Russell, and I've also talked about the NASDAQ, right? The Magnificent Seven.
Yep.
Okay, right? Those are the things that are holding up the market. The rest of the market is weak. So potentially, we could see that money come out of the S&P 500, and where would it go? Potentially, there's going to be some type of buyer stepping in and putting it into Bitcoin because, well, we're a few months away from the halving, and there's so much people buying up Bitcoin. It's actually making and I forget exactly when the exact date of the halving, but it actually sped up the happening.
I don't know how to say it either.
Halving. The halving project. There you go. Halving project. So, oh dear Lord, forgive me. But so we potentially could see this thing push up higher, and see easily. And this is going to be really interesting because once we pass this 69,000, 70,000 area, it's nothing but, what's it called? Fly, na 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 na, afternoon delight. What's it called? Wow, what was that song?
I don't know.
Anyways, I'm a nut here, but so that's where I'm expecting to see things kind of get moving here. But it would be nice to see a little bit of a sell-off here as we come down. So talk to me, Goose. What do you got in news?
When I have this view on here, the TV over my shoulder is CNBC. Oh, I need to have that blurred out. Give me a minute while I do that. I'll talk while I do that. No, not that one. No, that one.
We got.
Hold on, I just got
in trouble with that one. They're gonna demonetize us on that one. They're gonna be like, oh, There you go, CNN. There we go.
Right.
Blair.
Anyway, on CNBC, they're talking about the commercial real estate
Afternoon
sector.
Delight. There you go.
And they're talking about regional banks. And a lot of... all we do is talk about the big banks and how they hate us, and they just want to vacuum up all the money in Bitcoin now with ETFs and all that kind of type of stuff. We've conveniently been leaving out regional banks. And regional banks are 99% of the banks. There's, thousands and thousands of banks. I'm talking about the U.S., but what I'm about to say also applies to the banking system around the world, and that they're overexposed to commercial real estate. And the big banks are not overexposed to commercial real estate, the top 6 banks, because they're busy, all sorts of other stuff, and commercial real estate is actually, a small portion of their investment scheme. But regional banks are overexposed because regional banks do most of the lending for commercial real estate, because that's how it's very relationship commercial real estate between the people that do the leasing, between the people that arrange the financing, the developers. It's all one big family. And the commercial banks, or the regional banks, have been taking on too much debt. And as we all know, the commercial real estate market just blew up during COVID. And the fallouts are happening now. People aren't renewing leases. People have walked away from leases. People are walking away from owning buildings, all this type of stuff. And they're thinking it's kind of just at the bottom, but the problem is that these banks are stuck with all these uncollectible mortgages and loans and debt on these things. And now what the Fed has been talking about, and the learned people on CNBC have been talking about, is that in fact their debt now outweighs their reserves. I don't mean reserves for just the commercial real estate sector. I mean reserves for the entire bank, and it's affecting almost all the regional banks. And so I have a feeling that we are going to be seeing a meltdown in the regional bank systems, and the big banks are just going to get bigger. And soon there's only going to be like it's like all the bars in your town closing because people, like in Chicago, there used to be 6,000 bars. Now there's only 3,500, and it's not because bars are less popular. Or drinking's less popular. If anything, it's more popular. But bars were the first places to have televisions and first places to have air conditioning. And there was no internet for entertainment. So people went down to the corner bar. And they're still going down to the corner bank for commercial real estate loans. And I have a feeling there's going to be a big consolidation in that market. So if you're if your portfolio is exposed to regional banks, I would take a look at that and reevaluate your risk profile on that one. Space Cat, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it. Space.
The final frontier.
And Darrow says commercial real estate is not commercially viable anymore. Not yet. In fact, Mrs. Striking and I walked by a building here in Ottawa the other day that I remember when they were planning it. It was going to be an office building, blah, blah, blah. And like the top 3 floors, which is kind of common in commercial real estate now, was going to be luxury penthouse type stuff. And they just shit-canned the whole office part of it and just made the whole thing apartments, and everything was sold out. So I found that pretty interesting. But you're right. Commercial real estate, not commercial viable. Anyway, I just bring that up as a side note. It's an interesting story I saw today on the CNBC about that, and just wanted to make sure to pass on if you have a portfolio that involves commercial banking or regional banks, be wary. Are you guys getting a higher amount of ad breaks today than before? I've set the automatic thing. YouTube streaming behind the scenes gives you 2 options. One, insert ad breaks yourself, which you end up never doing because you forget. You have to press a button. This is for live shows. Obviously, it's different for recorded. And then they say let the YouTube algorithm do it. It's kind of new. And some of you get a lot of ads, and some of you don't get many. And the algorithm tries to figure out, I think it uses my voice that I'm coming to the thing and talking about, hey, let's go to commercial. And maybe it kicks one in there. I don't know. And I also don't know if when you come back, if you're a few seconds behind or you just miss the content. Because God knows if you miss 5 seconds of us, you are not with it anymore. So I don't know. Chuck manages to get through. He gets a lot of ads. Apparently the mayor of Akron's getting a lot of ads.
That's really interesting.
And if any of you are getting too many ads, let us know. The name of the song is Afternoon Delight, Ka-ching
Yes.
says.
Afternoon delight.
See? The musician in the house. It's about a quickie in the afternoon. Ooh, it's time for a little afternoon delight. See you guys. Oh, I forgot. Mrs. Striking just left. Chuck says, I'm done mining fiat for the day. That's good.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Get 1 to 2 on average per show. Let's not increase that. Like I said, it's not up to me. I hit the automatic button. YouTube figures it out. And obviously, you just can skip them, right? We give Pedro and I a little break and watch a few seconds of them.
Yes. You know what's interesting is
Chuck
I'm
watches
kinda
on 2
frustrated.
screens so he doesn't miss one.
That's what's up, dude.
Dedication. When I get a commercial and I
update.
come back, I've missed a few seconds.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
He said 4 already. We haven't been on that long.
Too, like legit. That's crazy. You know what's crazy? I'm jumping back to the news. I was actually reading while we were gone, right, that the U.S. government is stepping in because so many people use Trust Wallet, and they're based out of California or out in the U.S. That Binance is based off of Binance, that they're going through and they're test netting it and really starting to like seeing if they can break it. And I was like, dude, this is. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, the fact is that they're going in and they're trying to stress test it is like huge because it means it gives validity again to what crypto is doing, what is actually happening, and how things are actually going. So it's just, I don't know. I just think it's interesting what they're doing. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, brother?
I think they're just trying to find any way to screw Binance. That's what I think. And Binance owns CoinMarketCap, Trust Wallet, and a host of other little utility things that you don't even know about, just because they hoovered them up, years ago when they were young, and don't really advertise that they own all these things. But they do, and I think the U.S. government is still. It's got that, that inertia that happens when government gets going. When someone got promoted because they screwed Binance, that means the 80,000 other government employees are going to be like, hey, if I can figure out a way to screw them, I'll get promoted too. And so the inertia just happens until they sap the life out of you. And that's probably what's going on. They're probably looking for something like, oh, is there some way that CZ got notified a billionth of a second before any big trade? I'm sure they're picking that apart as best they can. And if they find anything in there at all, they're going to hook them up again for another 40 or 50 years.
Oh, snaps.
Damn, look at that. Our $20, Charles Jansen. Chuck, thank you very much. Doc, Miss Tom and Pedro over the weekend. Big week upcoming for Operation Phoenix and Stag. We'll be talking about Stag later when we talk about Phoenix. We're going to mention them, talk about everybody, bring them into the conversation in about 15 minutes or so. So if you get the words out into their community, that would be a good time for them to show up.
Also, I want to talk about Mr. XRP lawyer John Deaton. I believe one of our friends, correct?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Hold on 1 second. I forgot to do this. I always forget.
Yeah, for the money. Yeah.
Super Chat Tuesday!
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
Thanks,
whoop.
Doc. Thank you very much. Woo!
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so it's interesting that he's running against Elizabeth Warren and 2024 elections. Is there any way that we can get him to come on again and talk about?
Man, I would love to do that.
are?
Let me write that down.
Yeah, because I saw that and I said yes, and then I said, "Dang, I should have joined the libertarian group out there because I wanted to because they meet once a month and I wanted to start going and being a part of it because I mean it's such a it's one of those things that I think the libertarian group is just basically like government, get off our nuts, we can figure this out. Like we're grown
we're grown people, like you can figure it out.
Grown people, like and when we need you, we'll ask, hey, we need help. Government's like, no, we are your older brother and we're gonna tell you what to do, or we are your molester older uncle.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's a good example. I did that with my kids this weekend. We weren't on the air Thursday, Friday, or yesterday. because both my kids came up and visited me from the States. And they flew up. One came in from St. Louis. The other came in from Chicago. And taking them back to the airport. I'm with them in the airport. Mrs. Striking and I are escorting them there. Take them into the park. Go into the ticket desk. And they're like, "All right." I'm like, "What do you mean? Don't look at me. You're the guys flying." They're 21 and 17. I'm like, "You guys are the ones flying. You figure out how to get on the plane." And
they're like, "What?"
And so my son goes over to one of the machines at the Ottawa airport and boop, 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 boop. And they're on different flights because they're going different places. He's figuring out. My daughter's younger, hasn't used one of these machines before. She goes, "Dad, I don't know how to use it." I'm like, "They have a million of these machines." And I said, "Look at all these people using them. You think they're all wizards?" "No." And I said, "You're a wizard. Figure it out." And she looks at it and says, "All right," follows the prompts. And it turns out there was a problem with their ticket because her flight here got screwed up, and it caused her to go to the ticket desk itself. And she looked at me. I'm like, "Don't ask me. You got to figure it out." And so in essence, she went to the ticket desk and said, "Oh, I just needed to re-show my passport in person." Blah 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 blah. And all was fine. I said, "Well, now you know how to do these things, right?" So see, that was the libertarian example of air flight.
Figuring it out. It's not that hard. And sometimes it is hard. So this is where you need to sit there and go, okay, or somebody's trying to screw people over, and you got to sit there and say, "Hey, government, come and stomp these dudes, but don't go too far," because
Exactly. All right, before we get in 10 minutes or so, we're going to talk about a couple of the projects we've been following and engaging their community because they bring good viewership. But let's get to the heart of the matter. What we were talking about is the theme of today's show. The theme of today's show was this: Starknet. And why do we care about Starknet, huh? Why is that a big deal, ladies and gentlemen? Starknet, I don't know if you guys know anything about it. I didn't know much about it. But Starknet is a level 2 chain on ETH. It's a roll-up chain type things. But it's not just a roll-up chain for little things. It's a roll-up chain for big things. And they've been going now. Their token and chain thing actually launched today. But they have been rolling now for a while. Let me try and bring them up here so I can get it. Starknet. And they have hundreds. Here, I'm going to go to their ecosystem. Let me get the right screen on here. Let's see. Let's go back to Pedro and my screen. Tom's screen. There we go. And they've got a crazy amount of stuff going on for a project that hadn't even launched yet. As they say, it hadn't even done doodly squat yet. Ethereum ecosystem, Dapland, Starknet ecosystem. They have literally, it says right here, hundreds of apps, services, and wallets. All these types of things. They scroll on forever here. And all of these are developed before the project even launches. It's the most amazing thing. I don't know the money behind Starknet, but clearly the Starknet Foundation funded a lot of stuff prior to them launching. And say, okay, that's cool, Tom. Starknet launches, new stuff launches all the time. We just had NetZ launch a little while ago. Let's hit some of their fans. But why is this one different than the others? A couple of the shows that we've talked about the altcoin season. And the altcoin season is something that it's all dear to our hearts because you make serious X's. I mean, it's not just like, oh, Bitcoin went up 50% today. It's like, oh man, Dimension did a 10x today or something like that. And so we all just wait around for alt season to pump because then we know just about everything we invest in is going to make X's, and we're very happy for that. And Pedro and I keep talking about it. We keep talking about X season, crypto season, crypto alt season, if it's coming or not. You've seen a number of our titles of our shows, all this type of stuff. Is it coming or is it not coming? And so and we were like, yeah, this is pumping. But as we all know, crypto
That's what she said.
all season. Bam. As we all know, crypto alt season it means that the alts are growing faster than Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin has pumped a lot in the past year, and it's exceeded that of the alts. So we're not in an alt season yet. But there's kind of a formula to kick off the alt season, and that starts with Bitcoin pumping. It starts with Bitcoin pumping. Let me get this right. And then once that pump kind of reaches its crescendo, ETH then pumps. After ETH pumps, then the large cap alts pump. And then after that, everything bumps. That's when the true FOMO starts, and every shit coin and every meme coin and everything starts going. And we've seen that cycle a couple of times, and we've been waiting for the ETH pump, and it happened today. It happened. Are you listening? It happened today, and it happened because Starknet launched. I'm pointing here because it's just their page. Starknet launched, and in order for people to start using Starknet and all that, they had to get ETH and bridge it over, yada, 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 do all that kind of stuff. And so we saw ETH go like this, kaboom. And it's going to go more kaboom as people start loading up on Starknet. All these programs that I just showed you here, all these things, they're going to need Starknet tokens to do something or other right away. And Starknet gave out, they airdropped a bazillion tokens. I don't know how you got on that list. If anyone knows how you got on the Starknet list, or if you're on it, please let me know. Drop a comment. And to the tune of, when they launched, $25 billion market valuation, fair market valuation, or fully diluted market valuation, with basically a $2 billion market cap on day one. I mean, it's like magicianal money. Just poof. I mean, and of course, I'm sort of complaining because I'm not part of it. Well, my part of $2 billion, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Dude.
Anyway, bring up the Starknet chart here and I'll continue talking.
Yeah, that's actually where we're at. And just real quick, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining at the top of the hour. We're going to get to a couple other projects. Right now, we're talking about the topic of the day, Starknet and the alt season.
Yeah, so let's check out here because it's really interesting. All right, so and I was talking with, it went from 50 cents today all the way up to $5. It's a 10x in one day. That sounds like altcoin season to me. but in the same sense, like obviously people got in, and then people are doing a bit of a sell-off, and now it's kind of halfway mark here. We're about that $2 mark, and I was talking to I forget when we started talking. I don't know when. I think it was around 10 o'clock or maybe 9 o'clock night. But I said, the only real place here that can see a bounce potentially and coming back down to is really this 220 to 210 cent mark area here, because this is the first day, right? So,
right.
But we're seeing a bit of a sell-off. But because this has so much going on in it, people are going to have to buy the coin. Right, much like when we saw Binance really step in and get things moving. Binance was an interesting thing, right? We saw you push up. It was very similar. I think they did a 10x, and then they sold off, right? But then they went to a sideways pattern, because the reality is as Binance kept adding on more and more utility and more use cases, people have to buy that coin, and as that coin is being bought, then you can see it just started picking up power and getting going. So it's very similar to what we're seeing here. I'm not saying this is going to be a Binance, but the reality is if at that $2 mark, and this is the other part. So this was a $500 million market cap with it. I believe it was about 500 million market cap when they exploded, and they busted it to 20. You said 25 mil,
Bill,
or 25 bill. Yeah,
Bill.
Oh, that's
they got so 25 Williams in the house.
10. So this would have been 10. This would have been 5. Then forgive me. Yeah. So this would have been 5 million. So forgive me. So this is 5 billion, not 500 mil. And so, wait. If they did a 10x, come on, Brent, work with me. 25 bill and 10x would be
25 bill to 10. Add a 0.
2.5 bill. All right, there we go. So that'd be about 20. That'd be about 2.5 billion. And so right now we're sitting at about a 10 billion because we're about halfway mark here. So this isn't that bad if you consider if this creates some real hype, and which it looks like it already is, and it's doing a lot already. We could definitely see a sell-off, which is something that you would normally sit there and see, right? Especially with a 10x, but it's already down 5x, and potentially, like, if this thing comes down in between, I mean, 75 cents, you know, like I would, and again, because this is such a hard push up, I would wait, you know, like what you want to see is when it bounces, where you see real volume come in, and all of a sudden you start to see it. And if you want to see something similar, I'm going to pull up another chart here, because this is very similar. And I was actually doing TA in another group, and a group I really love to check out. If nobody knows about
he's cheating
this.
on us, viewers.
No. You'll always be my faithful, but I'm very poly when it comes to social media. So forgive me. I'm polyfluid.
Oh man, I don't want to know where that one's going. Viewership drops by 99%.
I'm very conservative though, because you got to be good. Anyways, okay, so let's check out. Why am I missing it? Where is it at? Why is my brain blanking? Not bad. Why am I forgetting it? Arbitrum. There we are. Arbitrum. There you are. Arbitrum. So if you look at Arbitrum, Arbitrum had a very similar explosion when it comes to itself when it got started. It exploded extremely hard, but then what happened was...
Well, that was day one there on ARB? Oh, Jesus.
I don't think it went this high. I think this is false. Is this?
Hopefully that's a bunch of sniper bots that got wrecked.
Yeah, there we are. There we go. Boom. This is it. Okay. So this is the daily chart, right? So we saw it go from, I believe it was, where is it at? 50 cents all the way up to $1. What was that? $1.06. And I said I would expect to see it at least come down because it was a very similar chart. First place, you can see here, I had marked out here was, and these were very like interim places. This was going to be our buy zone where we would come back down to, because if you looked at the 5-minute chart, 5-minute chart was very, 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 very similar.
Yep.
So it was something that this is where. So this area right here, that $1.23 was an area that I looked at. But then I said, also expect when it comes to ARB, is to see maybe sell off, you know, for a day or two. They sold off for about 3 months because we were in the middle of the bull run, but it came back down to about 73 cents. So it cut itself about halfway, right? And then we saw it consolidate where it then put in a higher high, and we saw volume coming right here. This was the volume marking where we saw a higher low with volume coming in, and then we started seeing it push above that 8 period, and we saw a consolidation of the moving averages, right? Where as we were coming down, you saw it put in lower highs, but then at the same time, the consolidation of the moving averages. And then once we saw volume start to step in at this level, we expected to see a move high here, a swing high as it moved up now, or swing low as it moved up. And so these are one of the things now we're looking at when we're looking at Starknet, right? It's not that it's going down. It's just this is part of the movement that happens, right? So we're coming into half, you know, maybe 75%. Maybe it could even come down, because at this point, like, we know this is going to be this is a viable business. They are getting money to come in. There's stuff that is happening within this network, and there's people who are very bullish on it. So they're building buyers, and so people are already building, so they know that they need to accumulate. That's another one. Accumulate the token here. So I would sit there and say, all right, we're good points that are definitely like, this is stupid money, you know, would be and
stupid money.
Meaning buy in, because that's a good deal, right? Like stupid money. And so and this is what I'm saying is when that's, you know, people will come in and just start to FOMO, much like the movie Stupid Money. And so you can see here and see, and they'll have their roaring kitty, right, who will come in and blast them and just love on them. And so for me, at this point of $1, it's still a bargain, or even $2.50 to $1. I mean, just 75% is where you're like, okay, this is a good price for me, just simply because people have to accumulate this and to keep working on their network. And so Starknet looks like a fairly good dude for a day one, dude. Explosion 10x.
Yeah,
I think we might be in it, because just that's nice. And then, dude, look at ETH from it, bro. ETH just said bing. Like
blammo,
blam blam blammo. So again, people are selling off, which is normal. It's when every time you see a big push, expect a sell off, right? And so this is a supply area, and we've kind of pushed right through the supply. We sold off on it down here, but man, you can see that 8-period moving average on ETH, bro, is really solid here. So it's pretty interesting. What do we got going on for the
Well, hold on. Let me finish up. I wanted you to go over that first with Starknet, but I'll finish up my altcoin thing, and then we'll hit the projects that are coming online here. Okay. And so everyone stand by with us for a second here while I finish my thought process, because I know all of you want to hear it, right? No, you don't. No, seriously. What we were talking about was what's kicking off the altcoin season, and whether or not that was going to happen now. And Bitcoin so far has been overshadowing the alts. If you go to crypto bubbles or whatever that are, you can compare things to fiat or Bitcoin, and it's very easy to see that Bitcoin's outpacing the alts. And alts have to be kicked off to do that. And that's when Bitcoin has had its pump and then starts to do some consolidation. Then followed by ETH pumping, which happened today. And then because of the Starknet launch and this little thing I got here on the screen here, that's Pedro's ETH chart. And then after that, the large cap coins start to moon. And mooning for large cap coins isn't like many X's, it's just going up. But then the rest of the market starts to moon. And that's when the altcoin season really kicks in. So what I'm trying to say is that it's possible that today was the Harbinger Day. Harbinger Day?
Harbinger Day?
Harbinger Day?
Yeah, that's about right. But Harbinger is more of a warning.
Right.
Like a negative warning.
Right, I've used Harbinger before as negative. Today is the, maybe we'll say we're all sitting in the catbird seat right now. And I guess that's bad if you're the bird. But old cartoons never die, do they? But today could be the day that altcoin season starts. So we're going to pay attention to that and get to it. And, of course, before we start talking about all these other projects all these viewers are on here first, I would be remiss if I did not talk about our sponsors real quick. So give me 60 seconds to pay the bills, as they say. First of all of you guys that have problems with crypto accounting or know that you're going to have them when you get that letter from the IRS after they've rolled you up from subpoenaing all the exchanges and everything else, and they figured out your DeFi wallet, you're going to need someone to straighten out your accounting. And below me is a thing called Camuso CPA. Patrick Camuso at Camuso CPA runs a firm dedicated to crypto accounting. And as many of you do, you have your own accountants and that type of stuff. But what Patrick likes to always talk about is that about half his cases, his clients are people that were at regular accountants, and then the regular accountants thought they knew about crypto and they screwed it up, and they got the nasty letter from the IRS saying you owe a lot more money. So you gotta, in order to get it right, especially if you're in DeFi. If you're just in an exchange, it's one thing. But if you're in DeFi, in which you get reflections, you might be part of a rebasing contract. You stake and have rewards. You provide liquidity. All of those things are very complicated and very difficult to value as far as taxes are concerned. And speaking in the U.S., but every locale has their issues with this too. But Patrick can do that. Camuso CPA, go check him out. There's a link in the bottom here. If you click that link and fill out the evaluation form, please put down that DYOR Media, Striking, Pedro, the dudes on the internet sent you, and that helps out the channel. And also, of course, I have to talk about Audit Chain here. AuditChain.finance. AuditChain is recently pumping, I might add. their token, which is just a gas token for their validator nodes, which goes around, they don't go around, but people use their validator nodes in order to power their Luca and Pacioli software that goes and checks on the financial reports that companies put in the Edgar database or the European version, Australian version, all the different jurisdictions, and makes sure that they're correct, or goes in and audits them, sees where the errors are. Like I famously say, we did a number of banks online, and they came back just awful. 2 of them, the banks failed. And another bank, their balance sheet didn't balance by the tune of, I think it was 15 billion. Might have been 1.5 billion. But I got to tell you, even with a small company, if your balance sheet doesn't balance, especially in the age of computerized double entry accounting, something's amiss. And so AutoChain picks up on all that. Their token is pumping right now. It's trading on Poly and QuickSwap and Uniswap, but I think most of it's on QuickSwap, the liquidity pools, whatever. That's not the point. I'm not telling you to trade them. I'm telling you to check out their project if you're in the financial reporting business, because it's awesome, and they're still, as I say, been saying for a while, they're getting ready to launch. They're getting ready to launch. And anyway, thank you for being the main sponsor of the show, Audit Chain, ladies and gentlemen. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. Who in the house wants to hear about Stag? Stag! Who are these community guys from Stag? Pedro, grab that chart. Apparently something's happening with the chart. Apparently,
check out that Stag.
Apparently, Stag has been pumping since we've been on the air.
Oh, Stag it up, dude. That's what I love. Shoot. Stag is Stag. Where is my Stag?
Matt Rhodes says, Stag. Me. Crypto Mike, we didn't see you in the house here, Mike. So we're going to give you the... Welcome, Crypto Mike from Winnipeg. Chuck says, I don't know what these... chart broke and fell off the rails. I sent you the link for Stag.
Yes, you did. And I thought I had it up, and for whatever reason. Give me 1 second. Uno momento, because I know I have it. Boom. Stag is Stag.
General Tao, we will be with you. General So. We'll be with you guys next.
Yes, sir. Boom. Am I in this now? There you are. There we are. Boom. Stag is Stag. Here we go.
You still got another tab up.
Yeah.
Something about Zada. There we go.
Yeah. Stag. Here we are.
Ah, the old poo coin. Dang,
Yes,
boys.
yes.
Threw us some green there.
Man. Shoot, that's what's up. Stag is Stag definitely boosted. So let's talk about Stag a little here. Nice little sell-off match, which is good. Came down to previous highs, and nice little rebound with good volume. Dude, you can't ask for a prettier for that type of movement. I mean, that sell-off was really good. So that's a nice little seed to see a nice little push-up. You could potentially see this thing get... I mean, if this thing gets going, we start to really see this push.
Real Food Recipes. Now, there's a YouTube name. Real Food Recipes says, let's go Stag. Cheerion Sturgis. Wait a minute. There's 2, as I call them, Sturgises in the house. There's 2 of them. Sounds like a family affair here. Sorry. Go ahead, Pedro.
That's all good. It's all right. So it's pretty nice. We could definitely see some big movement here. The biggest key, though, is this: that you got to see volume come in. You've got to sit there and see, because what happens is, as this starts to push, if you guys can stay on a CoinMarketCap trending and start to see that get going, also that's when you start to see those big jumps, right? And it's really interesting to sit there and see that. I mean, they've been around for about 4 months now, and they're sitting at, you guys sat at 21 cents for a while, man. 21.31, and now you guys literally have done a 10x. Man, first of all, congrats to your devs. We're really sticking in and hustling on that, trying to make that happen. And you guys came from 3 cents. So that's impressive. Now, I don't like the fact, though, that you guys have a market cap of only 209,000.
Gotta start somewhere, Pedro. Little guys gotta start somewhere.
I know. So, but it's real nice, though, to sit there and see that you guys do got some big movement. You guys gotten some big movements here. So that's actually a really nice little setup. if it does continue, we could see this thing do another. I mean, just this day alone was $1.64 all the way up to 2.40. And if this thing starts to get going, we could definitely start to see this thing do $1.50 moves over the next couple of days. So it all depends on what's going to happen in relationship to how much volume do you guys have coming in, right? What about them why have they exploded so much? What was it that really made it?
First of all, because we were mentioning them in the comments and I said they were going to be on. So our worldwide audience has suddenly had to FOMO in. All the kids in Asia, they're FOMOing right now. They woke up from the middle of their night's sleep and said, I got a FOMO, because Tom said that. And actually, the FOMO is a result. Tomorrow they're having a big announcement between Operation Phoenix and Stag, and I'll leave that announcement for them to make tomorrow. But they said big announcement. Oh, look at this! Another couple online here. The FOMO is real. All the kids in Asia. That powered. The Chuck, you saw that with the project we were involved in a while ago. That powered the people in Indonesia, the youngsters in Indonesia and the Philippines, and for that matter, Malaysia, really powered it. And it took a project that had about 5,000 holders to 31,000 holders, like that, almost overnight. And when you look through the help section and the and all that type of stuff, it was Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. In those countries, and everyone was like a 19-year-old, I swear, because they all wanted to they all wanted to turn $10 into $100, because that would change their whole month, for paying bills and stuff like that.
It changed their whole entire year.
Yeah, it did. And projects like this, like Stag, can easily do things like that if they get the right audience. And all they gotta do is watch DYOR live here with Striking and Pedro. No, but not just the right audience, but you get the right group, you get it into the right Facebook group, you get it into the right, crypto watchers group or gems group and all that, and everyone sees a small gem. The next thing you know, you got 30,000 holders, and it's unbelievable.
It's true.
Well, Stag, we're going to pay attention, you guys. We'll cover your announcement tomorrow, that's for sure. Thanks for joining the show and talking about that. Now we're going to move over to the other half of that equation, Operation Phoenix. I know you are Phoenician friends. Phoenician friends, how about that? I made that one up on the fly.
I like it.
I did not think of that. OPHX, and as they say, I am invested in this, so this is not a segment to go out and FOMO based on what I say. Do your own research and invest your own damn money however you will. Please don't listen to me or Pedro.
But in the same sense, they're looking fairly strong, man. So so they're at an $8 million market cap, which is nice. And I mean, the reality is we've definitely seen the why am I forgetting what this is called? The holdings, the LP, the liquidity pool, man, definitely jump up, man. I mean, I think when we were there, I think they were at 50 or 60,000. Now it's all the way up at 131,000, which is nice. I mean, that's decent.
Yeah, they have two. Just to be clear, they have two liquidity. They're traded on PancakeSwap and on their own DEX. And so when you look at their liquidity pool, it says it's a little light, but you have to add them up. And it's good that they're trading on PancakeSwap and their own DEX. But what happens is you split the liquidity pool, and new investors put their eyeball on that and think, the price is a little low. And big buys and sells do move this market. This down arrow here today is a whale sold off a nice bag, and it moved it a lot. It moved it 10% of the value of, remember, not value of the market cap. It moves it based on the share of the liquidity pool sold, and it moves it a lot. But what happens when you have two liquidity pools is the initial person sells like crazy. And then the ARB bot kicks in and pulls liquidity from the other pool and brings it over here. It sells on one and buys on the other, and even equalizes the prices in the two. So that's not apparent to new people, and it's very hard for new people to come in and see a low as a percentage liquidity pool and get a comfortable feeling with it. And unfortunately, it does turn some eyeballs off because people got burned by low liquidity projects that rocketed up. It's like, oh my God, we got a $20 million market cap, but there's $48 in the LP. You're like, just for you new people out there, remember, the only money in a crypto of any kind is in the LP. So when you look at market cap, that's really not the value of anything. It's the value of everyone's wallets together. If there was 100%, if there's 100% LP, meaning if your market cap is at $10 million and you had $10 million in your LP, then everybody could sell and get their share of the market cap. Otherwise, when it's at a ratio, you obviously only get your ratio part. And so you have to divide up the LP. Operation Phoenix, 2 LPs, got to add them together. And people also get confused because then they add the market caps together, and that's not how that works. It's not how that works. Jason and Matt say, thank you, much appreciated. But Operation Phoenix is going well. The chart had a sell-off today. I don't know why, but it just can't go up every day. Anyway,
you want it to come down.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You've got some really good buyer wigs and some really good points. So look, you can see how we had a previous high, came down, put a lower high in, and then we put a higher low in, and then we put in a new higher high in, which is nice. So now that when it comes back down, you have buyers sitting at these levels. And so this area here is a nice little pretty area. So when it comes down to that 5 cent 8, dude, that's a perfect place to buy and then capture the next leg up. You can see they've got a pretty good pattern of literally 4 days, 5 days straight, consolidation, and then another 5 days straight. So this is actually a really good little chart here as you're seeing as it moves. So definitely hats off to how they're handling their LP, how they're handling this. And this is nice. I'm definitely more bullish down at these lower. You guys all know I don't like I hate buying on premium, and there's times where I do miss out on trades, because I don't want to buy in at highs. But a majority of the time I do get my levels, and so I wait for it and then expect another leg up. Right, and these are good areas, and especially I can buy almost twice as much down here than up here, and then as it pushes up to these upper levels, because if you look at it, and we can check out the price movement right here as we can sit there and see it. This, past, what's the old saying? Past,
past.
Oh, what do they call?
Let bygones be bygones.
No,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry.
Jason says, you guys rock. And we started the show off with a little heavy metal, but thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No, but what I mean is this. Past performances is not indicative of future performances. But you can kind of really see how they're moving at these levels, where people typically buy, and how we actually see it move. And here we are. Here's the trend.
God's power ass, power A's. I don't know how to pronounce that. God's power A's says Operation Phoenix Army, OPXH, OPHX, Safe Moon. Yeah, I might as well, while you're, to interject again, if for those of you that are not part of the Operation Phoenix community, a number of people from the old Safe Moon community, no, not the team or anything like that, the community, including a number of YouTube influencers like DeFi Sean and Safe Moon Joe, otherwise known as Squidrow Joe now, or maybe Operation Phoenix Joe, and a number of other guys, along with some community mods and their Reddit moderators also got together and said, hey, let's engage this community that is currently very pissed off about what happened to them. And try to redo the Safe Moon roadmap. And so far they're succeeding. They're up, 80x now or something like that as of today. And all is going well. And they only have, guys, how many holders? They have like 1,500. Guys, meaning you listeners. I don't have an audience here, or fleets of production assistants like Crypto Banter or something like that. What's that say there? 1,500 or so?
That's definitely not. No, it does not. It says 6 holders. I don't think that's correct.
That's not the right one.
Definitely not. So, do I have the correct Operation Phoenix chart then?
Yeah, that's the chart.
Okay. So maybe probably a lot of them transition.
Did you click on the LP chart instead of the?
Yeah, LP holdings, boom. Chart holders. Potentially, let's see if it just dropped. No. All right, so this makes sense. So, 400 holders, about 400.
Well, there's
holders.
holders. There's holders on PancakeSwap, and there's holders on their decks too. Over, let's see, OPHX. 1,730 members in TG. Not sure how many holders. God's power ass. Sorry, I'm not getting your name right. About 1,400 hodlers here, and that number is really low. And if I gotta say, there is more of the SafeMoon community. SafeMoon community used to be millions of people, and obviously there's not millions of people paying attention to now. There's probably, but there's more than 1,400. And so those people have to be found, and if those people can be pulled back into this project and let them be known, I feel the FOMO urge will be strong because it's hard. It's like when you're in any old project and you see it start to creep up for any reason, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, maybe I'll get back in that. But the fundamentals haven't changed, and all that type of stuff hasn't changed. But you've got that emotional connection to it. And if you guys at Operation Phoenix can get that emotional connection to all those SafeMoon holders, I got to tell you, I mean, they're at 1,400, 1,500 holders right now. 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 holders is easy, and that price will just go bat fucking zerk. I got to watch those F-bombs. You do something like that. Power to Operation Phoenix. It's God
power raise.
Raise or Ras? Raise.
It's
Raise?
Ras?
It's God's power raise. Raise, Ras?
Yeah, God's power raise. Yeah, God. Yeah.
With
Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Godspeed. I love it. Go to the moon. Race.
All right.
God's
Power race.
There we go.
These little things we have to get through on these live shows.
Dude, it's so funny, dude. Because you're off God's power race.
All right, you Operation Phoenix guys, tell us what's coming next. Apparently, you got a thing tomorrow with Stag that we'll cover the announcement of that, of course. But what else is next? What else is next? Obviously, I pay attention to the Telegram. I know the things that are coming next, but I want the community to tell us what's coming next and when is it coming.
What's up, Ace? Good to see you. Glad to have you on here with us.
Ace, is that Ace? Is that Ace Dugan from the TG? I think so.
What up, Ace? TG Telegram. What up, brother? By the way, nice beard. Like girls can go up to women and go, "Oh, you look so pretty." Oh, like guys can't do that, right? But what you can say is, "Bro, nice beard."
Right. That's right.
Or bro, digging the mullet. Like. It's like I can't tell how many times I've sat there and watched women like literally not that I want to funnel a male. I mean, some dudes are into that. I'm not. I'm definitely hetero. But anyways, besides the point,
I'm not allowed to shave.
Dude, women. I've seen so many women that just literally like grab each other's like chest or booty or whatever, right? And be like, "Dude, look at these, man. These are great. What's going on? What are you doing?" Right? And I've literally watched it in the club going like, that's so interesting. And it's so like it's not comical. It's just like accepted. And so when a guy sees, and here's the thing, you don't touch another man's beard. That's inappropriate, right? So you can't just do that. But I was at the gym and I'm sitting there and like I was working out with this dude, right? He was helping me spot. And the guy goes, and like legit, he looks and he's looking at this dude. And I was like, dude, focus, bro. And I go, I know he's got a good beard. All right, focus here. He goes, yeah, right. And I'm like, yeah, the dude, it's so full and it's all like, and it's very manicured. I mean, he literally looked like it like when you think of Abraham Lincoln, you think of an epic beard, right? Like the same.
Well, razors were
like,
expensive back then, so
Yeah. You know, I love.
Well, with Ace here,
Yes.
his beard reminds me of the guy from The Expanse. And one of you guys has to be an Expanse fan here. The guy that you're not that type of guy. You know, I'm that type of guy. Before he killed someone, what the hell's his name?
I don't know.
Anyway, he's the dude he had the epic beard on it, and the actor traditionally doesn't wear a beard, but he did for the show. And they asked him. They said that's an epic beard. How did you get that? Were you in makeup for a long time? And he just and those of us and Pedro, you're a man with long hair. You know this too.
Yes.
That right when you wash everything, you strip all the oils out and the grease. You can't do dick with your hair. It's just it's a mess. It's spaz, and you got to get it dirty and greasy. And the actor responded. He said, "I don't wash it for like a week or two before we go on air, before we go shoot on set, because then it has that good look to it." And I was saying, like during COVID, I had long hair. And when I would wash it, I was like, "Oh, this is what girls complain about all the time. It's awful."
The flat hair.
And then after you get a good solid 2 or 3 days of oil and grease, you're like, "Hey, man, this stuff looks good, man." And then it looks awful. Oh, side note, Timothy Fuentes. Timothy Fuentes, thank you very much. Stag and OPX, thanks for joining us as a new viewer, I think, unless you've been a long-time viewer and never commented.
What up, Timmy?
They're a really cool community, bringing the DeFi meme vibes back to BSC. All right, I guess that's talking about Stag.
Stag it up.
All right, bring the OPX chart up one more time. General Tao had a question about it. As usual, I try to get you to say these things because I can't. It's hard to see on, especially when people on mobile. The green lines on OPHX. What are those pricing levels there? Where you said they were good points to get back in if they hit that, if it comes down that low.
Yeah, so for me it's the 5 cent 5810, which is going to be the top of the buyer wick, and then the bottom of that top buyer wick is going to be basically 0.05071. That area here, that's the first one, and then the second one right here for me, it would be the 0.04128 to the 0.3451 area. I like these areas here simply because it's where its prices come down to. We saw it explode, saw it coming with more volume. So as it comes back down, definitely look. Like I would say, like put 40% of my portfolio buy right here. Actually, you know what? Let's put this into the portfolio that we have. Let's get in at point with $1,000. We're going to put in the.
Oh, we're in Operation Phoenix here.
Or where are we in at?
We may not be. I think I might be confusing it with Dimension.
Yeah, I thought we got into Dimension because I think you were saying we need to get in, and I said we got to wait for the next sell-off. We get in at these lower. Yeah,
we are not. Our show portfolio here. Let me turn it on here. The show portfolio here. For those of you that are new, we do a show portfolio here and invest in things the users tell us to. This is not Pedro's 120-step day trading here. This is Tom's marketing, trying to get more viewers to come on by having a portfolio. And as you can see, we've invested. It's a good time to go over that. The tether is just the free cash we have in there right now, $18,000. We haven't invested it. We're holding $5,000 of. We bought $5,000 of BNB based on Crypto Mike saying we should hold it, and it's up $490. I gave Crypto Mike grief for about a month there because BNB was down. We bought Dimension. I forget which one of you guys was it. Kaching, I think it was Kaching that brought us to Dimension, and we're up $288 there. We bought some Mainnet Z. We're up $250 there. And of course, Bitcoin we're in and out of. We're not holding it right now, although we should have held it and not sold it. But we're going to put some Operation Phoenix in here too. Pedro's going to give me a level to buy in at, and I'll probably buy some anyway at market price. But we'll also put it in an order for Pedro. Lord Baltimore, the Lord of Baltimore, man. This is such important people here. It's great to know that you own. Are you the Lord of Federal Hill? Is that fine neighborhood? Oh, that's terrible. I'm just terrible. Anyway, yes, you missed the stag party, but we talked about it at length. But we'll be covering it again tomorrow, covering their announcement with Operation Phoenix tomorrow. Yeah, he's clearly understands my my Federal Hill reference there. Hey guys, back here, North Baltimore. I love it.
Awesome. Well, like I said,
Sounds
these
like
areas.
Ethan. That's what that sounds like. That sounds like Ethan.
These are good areas to be buying. Also, you also have another. You have another where you have a previous high right here. So this is another area right here with Operation Phoenix here, where you would want to consider. There we go. Real quick.
I know it's hard to read these numbers here because I can only blow it up so big before I forget to unblow it up, and then the next chart looks like hell.
That's all good. I'll give it. I'll give a third one here. So, this is current market price of coming down into this level, which was previous high right here, and you could sit there and probably gauge. This is the 0.079 03 area to the 0.7464 area. So there's a good little area between here. If you were to split it up, I would sit there and do potentially 20% here, and then another 20% down at this level, and then another 60% down at this level.
Yeah. One of the things, I don't know if this matters for you, Pedro, but one of the things that Operation Phoenix has that very few other projects have going on for them is that they have, I think it's close to 50% of their tokens staked.
Yes.
Yeah, no, staked by people that bought. And then another, 17% set aside for, these numbers may not be correct, but it's close to it. 17% set aside in a wallet for exchanges and for other things like that. And so there's very few, there's only like 1 million on PancakeSwap and another 1 million on their DEX available for free trading. And with a low liquidity pool, it's very possible that a couple of good buys will really spike the price. And I am bringing this up I don't know if this changes the way you think about something, but we've had a couple of people buy in and drop $50,000. We had a guy, I think someone, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't someone stake $144,000 today? Is that what I saw? Matt says I staked it 95% of my tokens. But a lot of it's locked up. A lot of it's locked up for for a whole month or so. A Chad bought in and staked 150K worth of Operation Phoenix. Holy moly, that's a lot. That is definitely a lot. That's because Mr. Hordes is a boss. I know what you're referring to there, but anyway. So that's very interesting, and so I don't know if it can drop down that low unless a bunch of people do emergency withdrawals and then they lose 25% like that, and then they sell. It's another 10%, so it would be a 35% penalty for coming out of staking. All right, that's the community input today, but I'm gonna have some alpha for you here in a little bit. Actually, it's not alpha. It's just talking about some things I learned about today. Sorry, it's Mr. Hordes. Yeah, 144,000. Amazing. Just amazing that someone would stake $144,000. And I don't know if someone could tell me, did they come in and buy that amount and immediately stake it? Or have they been acquiring it for a while and finally just staked either the whole bag or a big chunk of their bag? That's Grand Maps 401. What that means. But as Pidmonk says, that's a lot of cash. I would like to have that guy's problem, right? What do I do with this? Should I just hold it or should I stake it? My $144,000. If you're watching, I'll gladly help you out with your problems of too much money. Oh, that's Grandma's 401k. I love the typos we get.
Oh man, poor grandma. Oh well, hopefully it goes to the moon.
Right. Hopefully grandma doesn't have to go to the Happy Gilmore grandma retirement home and can go to the one my grandfather went to, which was Definitely the opposite of Happy Gilmore's grandma. To the moon, Lord Baltimore. Thanks for watching today. I'm going to bring up a couple other programs or things that I learned about. I was watching another YouTube guy talk about stuff because his topic of the day kind of overlapped with what I was talking about. And so I wanted to bring up these projects. Pedro, I talked earlier off the air about Alphium and DevE. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those correctly. But both of these projects, we've all seen the rise of Caspa, right? You've seen Caspa pump from 3 cents to now it's at I don't know, what is it, $1.17 or something like that, or...
No, it's Caspa is sitting at 18 cents right
Oh,
now.
18 cents. All right, recently went from 3 cents to 17 cents. Or before that, it was at 1 cent. God, I sound like an Eminem song. 1 cent, 2 cent. And it's just rocketed. I don't know what time frame chart you got on there for Caspa.
So this is the low is 0.000305.
Yeah, there's some fat bags in that project. Make no doubt about that.
We're talking that is a 100x. Like that is not bad at all. Whoever got in at just these lower levels right here of 7
all
cents,
those members of their Discord community, that's all them right there. They're all sitting pretty right now. But anyway, the similar project. And what happened here? Hold it. Stop moving your chart real quick, Pedro. What happened right here in this super pump here is when they launched. They're a proof of work blockchain, and that's when they launched their own miners. And they're like $16,000 each, and people bought them like crazy and mined. Actually, they launched them back here, but they came online right around here, and it just pumped the hell out of the chart. This other project, Alphium. Let's get the name up right. Alphium, ALE.
Now, why is it? I mean, is it just some proof of stake just for a proof of stake, or is there real
proof of work?
tech? Yeah, I mean, excuse me, not proof of work.
Switch
to
the Alphium chart.
Checking it right now.
I would say stake it because imagine 1 billion market cap. Yeah, he's talking about Operation Phoenix. Matt says, Pedro, why aren't you ever on camera? He will be. He will. Well, I can tell that story in a little bit. Chuck Jansen, too bad I kept waiting for Caspa to go down a little bit more for picking up some miners. Yep, no, it's not going to happen, Chuck. All right, Alphium here. You notice it has a similar chart to Caspa because they're doing the same thing too. And they pumped. They pumped a lot even just today. Is that a daily chart?
Yes, sir.
Oh, for Christ's sakes! Every time I do prep for my show, I forget to buy stuff, and I forgot to buy these guys, and of course they pump. But they're also similar to Caspa, and they're getting ready to launch their miners also. So I would expect that similar FOMO, or just the effect of the miners coming on, more of their own proprietary miners coming online, and good stuff happening as a result of that. I'd never heard of Alphium before, or Alithium, or Lithium. I don't know how to pronounce it. Not sure this white shirt is a good thing. Kind of blend in with Pedro's background. But let's keep an eye on this. And Chuck, maybe put it in your list of miners to look at if you haven't. If you don't know about this, if you do know about it, give us some idea of what it's about. If you don't, put it in your miner list of things to watch. Matt says, "Did you buy a bag of Stag?" No, I forgot. I was preparing for my show. Plus, I don't want to buy something before the show and then talk about it. I'm not comfortable doing that. But other viewers have said, "Dude, you got to buy this."
Also, we have to be very careful now because this isn't like the old bull run where people were doing that and then then they would dump.
Right.
Right now, the SEC is waiting for stupid people to do that because they need to fill their cofferdam with crypto money. And
they do. They got to pump their budgets.
Yes, and they are looking for stupid people on YouTube and other things like that are literally going through, and the people are going to get crazy again, and then soon, and then they're going to sell their bags, and then people are going to do diligence and go, oh, this person is so and so, XYZ person. This person is a media not media professor, media performer or whatever. What do they call us?
I'll just use the word entertainer.
Entertainer. Are you not entertained?
That's what I use. For those of you that didn't know, I've said this before in the show, but the Today host Matt Lauer, the other journalists were giving him crazy and giving him grief about stuff, and because the interviews were very notably not great interviews, but they were good conversations. And he goes, "Look, I'm not a journalist. I'm a host, and I'm an entertainer." And all the journalists went, "Oh," like that stuff. And I'm certainly no journalist. Don't ever confuse me for anything like that. Please don't.
But we keep it legit. I know I'm not going to sit there and pump your... If your chart looks like trash, I'm going to say it looks like trash.
That's right.
I'm not going to sit there. I've only done that one time, and it was for the project, because I was trying to basically whore our project out so that we can get people to come over. And I just, I felt cheap, and I didn't lie about it, but I didn't tell the full scope of that chart, what it could do potentially, right? Like coming down. And so, and it did what I expected it was going to do.
Well, Pedro, just last week or 2 weeks ago, when we first had the Operation Phoenix guys on, we had Sean and Joe on, and you reviewed the chart, and it was currently pumping, and you're like, according to the chart, it's going to come back down here. It was at like 5 or 6, and you said it's going to come back down into the 3s, and there was a lot of rumbling in their Telegram room about that. And that type of stuff, but the chart came right down into the 3s and wicked down into it. It's just like you said, and so even you got to tell the chart like it is. You got to say it like it is. Anyway, back.
You may not like it,
right?
I mean, one thing to that, you may not like it, but here's the thing: like, are you going to like it when it goes from here to here? And I'm not saying that it's not going to. What I'm saying though is this: is I'd rather have my people who are watching me buy your project if they like your project, right? And how you sell your project, like at a point where they can buy double, triple, and then watch it push up and be a major holder.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I drew on the chart the moon. Just moon. Moon. Got to keep that crowd fired up.
But here's the thing: it's not bad. It's a good thing, actually. Yeah. That's why we love you. You need honesty and truth.
All right, let's bring up another project we talked about beforehand. This DevE, DEVVE, DVDevE, or whatever the hell it is. And if anyone knows anything about this project, please let us know. It seems to be brand new, and I don't know much about it. Lord Baltimore says it's all about the probabilities. And of course, the moon abilities. Yes.
Moon.
Yeah, although Pedro and I put down the Moon Boys all the time, and we talk about how this YouTube channel doesn't want to be, yo, bro, going to the moon, all that type of stuff, and the, no bros, into the moon. But we can joke about it and say the projects that we like, and then when we get their community on saying, hey, we'd like your project to go to the moon, because that benefits everybody.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie about it.
Right.
I mean, like, it's just in all honesty, right? And I'm also going to sit there and say, hey, look, here's a good area for a sell-off. And this is the other part. Like, people don't realize, like, so when a market starts to overextend itself, it's really important that that's an emotional expense. That's emotional tax. And so you're like, what does that mean? So if you look at from a trader standpoint, right, I buy in at a really low rate. If I don't sell that project and make a profit, and it comes back down to an area that I'm now negative, I'm more apt to sell off my whole entire bag, so at least I can sit there and say I got in at a level, at least where I made, if not some money. At least I got out with some money.
Right.
People sit there and they don't come back to your project. If somebody sells a part of their bag, right, and then is able to pick up a little bit more with a profit as it comes back down, that puts your project at a psychological dopamine hit in a good way. And so they have a fond memory of who you are in your project. And so they can always sit there and say, oh, I made XYZ, and now I have a moon bag, and I can then add in as you move higher, or if it sells off, because you've not only made money off of it, but you've also had a great experience while you're doing it. And
that's true. So is this chart giving you any hints about what's going on with it yet? Brand new Dev E?
So I would sit there and say it's from a and do you know what they do, by the way?
Not a damn clue. I had it on my list to research because the other guy was talking about it. I'm like, well, I better look into this because he gave it a glowing review. And not a Moon Boys glowing review, but like a proper company type review.
What was the guy's name that you were listening to?
A couple other guys. There's like two different. I think there's an influencer campaign going on or something like that of it.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So I would sit there and say, yeah, there are buyers. You can see as it's selling off, like people are trying to buy and keep this above. From a daily standpoint, though, it's definitely weak. We put in a lower high. Or excuse me, put a lower high in and a lower low. Now it all depends on what it's going to do here, because honestly, when I look at the potential moving averages, like I'd want to see this above here, right? And so when I'm looking at, let's say that the 4 hour, we're below that 8 period moving average. Now, yes, we're putting in demand wicks, but like let's go down to the lower levels, right? Are there more supply wicks or more demand wicks than on the smaller time frames? And that's what I'm looking here. So boom, sellers, but then this is where I'm trying to get to. Yeah, so you actually have more of a seller. You have more sellers actually in at this. So obviously great beginning. Boom. Then people took profit. So they got in at $1.65. And so that would be 30 cents, $1.65 to $1.99. It made some percentage, definitely not 100%. And so now people are just it looks like they're just trying to get out.
All right, well, I'll figure out if this is a real company or not then.
Yeah, look, you can see here, look, people are selling off even down at, look. People are selling off and then people buy it back, but in the same sense, from a chart standpoint, from a charting standpoint, I'm not saying that this isn't a good company, and nor am I saying that they don't have legit. From a charting standpoint, there are people that are selling off, and there is some buyback, but it looks like not enough, because you can see it's trying to push it back, but by us looking at it, there's definitely much higher volume of sellers than buyers overall. And so with this, I'm not too hyped about it, but on the back end, we did see some buyers step in here the last 5 minutes. So we're seeing a consolidation of moving averages, and we'll see what happens here. I'm not pro or against this, just from a standpoint of there are more sellers stepping in than there are buyers over the last day. So that's not, and that explains why we see a lower high and a lower low. Boom. So we'll see what happens. Follow this.
All right, ladies out there, we're getting towards the end of the show here. If you want Pedro and I to go over anything, just let us know. It's always fun looking over new projects that you might not know anything about, and following them and seeing how they roll. Or if they roll, or if they blow up,
they got
turn
into shit.
I need a big poo emoji that just comes down like Dairy Queen.
Oh, bro.
Okay, maybe not. We're trying to keep the show professional, but that sometimes you just feel like you need it when you look at so many projects, and you're like, dude, That one's not working. What? I don't know. What chart you got up there?
No, this is longs. So this is Bitcoin longs.
Oh, let me get this down off here. Hold on a second.
But in comparison to like the overall market, we're seeing a push up, but then a drop in actual real longs. And as you can see here, we're seeing it's starting an increase of shorters when it comes to Bitcoin. So it explains why we're seeing a Bitcoin that is looking more top heavy right now, because people are actually dropping off their shorts, i.e. Kathy Woods, a lot of these other people. And by the way, I think they're starting to call them the 9 now in crypto, the 9 ETFs.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
Oh, that's one thing I wanted to bring up today. You got the Bitcoin chart up here?
Yes, sir.
All right. So where in your chart is this morning here?
That would be right here. I mean, this is the day. So do you want me to go to a smaller time frame?
Yeah, I do like a 4 hour or something like that. Or
all right. We'll just do a 5 or 15. This is a 5 minute. So you want to go to this morning at the open?
Yeah. Here's the open here, right? That line that I just drew.
No, it's right here. The open's right here. Right here.
Wait a minute. That you're thinking the open, like stock market open, like 9:30?
Yeah.
I'm talking like earlier, like 6:30 in the morning. I just can't see it on your chart.
Oh, let's go ahead. So 6:30 East Coast time?
Yeah.
So that'd be right here.
All right. So this morning, this did this, and it was an interesting story I was reading about that. And Bitcoin traditionally hasn't followed trading day patterns because it's a 24-hour worldwide thing, right? So it's like, well, it's been very hard. I mean, Pedro, you've done the moon cycle on this. We can talk about the cycle of the moon and all that, but it's very rarely held to volume and trading based on the business day in any particular part of the world. Because it just trades all the time, and it trades in markets that trade all the time, and it's not U.S. centric like the U.S. stock market and that type of stuff. But ETFs have come into the picture, right? And ETFs trade when all these new guys that are into trading them are paying attention to the market. And these guys aren't paying attention to most of these guys aren't paying attention to the market in crypto hours, because they're not used to that. You know, they're in the stock market. They're like, "Oh, Jim, let's go to meet you at the club at 4:30 for a squash game," and so they're not used to it. They come into work, they get into work early, prepare their day, and then the market opens and they run their day, and then the market closes and they go home and play squash. But now with ETFs from the traditional finance world coming over into crypto, they get to work, and there's a whole bunch of trading desk orders for the big guys, BlackRock's iShares, and so they buy them. And we had a little morning pump because of that. And I'm going to try and track remember yesterday was a holiday in the U.S., so the Monday morning. This normally would be a Monday morning thing, but we had a bank and stock market holiday yesterday.
You mean the market actually opening up, the 8:30 open, the 8 o'clock open? I see what you're saying.
But the iShares trade 24 hours too, but they only trade when the guys are paying attention to it. It's not like meme coins, which guys are at 3 a.m. in bed going, "Dude, I'm going to try and make a BNB. Yeah, oh, I got rugged." You know, it's a different mindset. They get to work, they go through their papers, their emails, all this type of stuff, and then they see what they have on the desk for the day, and they say, "Oh, I got to get some," but I got to buy some iShares, blah, blah, blah. So we had a Monday morning pump. It's Tuesday, but it's the beginning of the trading week here. We had a Monday morning pump here, and we should watch that every Monday to see if we have that. Because if we do have it, you damn well bet that we can take advantage of that in the futures or in the options or something like that.
Absolutely. Oh, it's interesting. So
Chuck, thank you very much. Chuck's off to mine fiat for the rest of the day. Chuck, thank you for your super chat. As always, we really appreciate super chats as they go to help us defray the costs of this massive production expense that we have. But I'll give you the super chat holler. Woo! Thank you, Chuck Jansen, for everything you've done recently. We really appreciate it. God Power Race says BTC to 60 grand this weekend. I don't think so. Do you think it's got the momentum, Pedro, to recover from this dip and hit 60K in the next 4 days?
Well, here's the thing. So let's look at it from this standpoint. We've actually seen a big kind of sideways pattern right here, right? We're hitting the supply area here that I just put up today. Typically, I like to have it in advance. I overlooked it simply because of, well, there's not a lot of real sellers sitting there with volume-wise, so I didn't expect us to see some major move. But we're sideways here. But now let's look at, and I'll actually, because I wanted to go into this here real quick. You can see we're going sideways, but these are the longs actually stepping into Bitcoin. How many longs, how many shorts? We can actually see what's going on with the actual coin itself, right? And this is the spot market. And you can see here that the spot market has put in a lower high, now a lower low here over this past weekend since Friday. This is Friday, or what was it? Friday, there you go. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So you can see here that we're definitely seeing a bit of a sell-off here. And when you look at the shorters, this is the short stepping into Bitcoin. And you can see right here that this idea.
Thank you, Kaching. Have a great day.
Thanks, brother. Oh, Snaps, thanks for the vibe, man. I appreciate you.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, yeah, that got by me too. Thank you, Kaching. As we always say, we appreciate every super chat. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. We'll take the holler on that one too. Super chat from Kaching. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
So, oh snaps.
Snaps.
Oh snaps. So here's the other part. We're seeing a bunch of short step in right now with the actual coin itself. So that's also another thing that's adding pressure to that market. Now we know that there was a major guy when we were there. I think it was, when was that? Our last one was Thursday or Wednesday. That somebody put in a huge amount of shorts recently within Bitcoin. So now we have a bunch of sellers stepping in that we've seen. Plus, there's some major shorts stepping in, right? And you can see here, they're putting in these shorts.
Yes, Kaching, it was Alphium we were talking about. Sorry, Pedro.
So, it's okay, it's all right. So, you can sit there and see now, when I look at Bitcoin, I'm more apt to say it's going to go down than up. This is why you hear me saying, expect maybe a potential sell-off down to these lower levels, the 47,000 area, because shorters are stepping in. The actual Bitcoin coin itself is literally being sold off, right? Like we just saw it, what's actually happening. So I expect to see this, some type of sell-off, to then see another rally higher, right? Is that gentleman, I forget who the gentleman's name that put in, but he put like, I think $5 billion, something ridiculous, short on BTC, or was it 500 million? Either way, 500 million versus 5 billion, it's still a lot of money no matter what. And you know, and his stop is at 55,000. So, you know, whether that's him and his buddies making sure that this thing goes down, and you know, and he's fighting Michael Saylor and the 9, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen here. So that's in a nutshell what I'm looking at. And ETH, by the way, we can sit there and see what's happening with ETH. ETH has a similar chart than what we were talking about. You can see that this is the longs, and you can see that longs are dropping off here with ETH. So it's one of those things as I'm looking at ETH itself, though, the actual shorts are not picking up. So you're seeing more of a sell-off of the coin itself versus shorts with pressure to drop it. And that's why we're seeing a fairly decent rally today because of not Stag. What was the other one? The reason why?
Stark.
Yeah, Starknet. Yeah, so it was just really interesting to see what's actually happening here.
I kind of got this Tony Stark beard going here. Need to shape it a little bit here. Get a little pointy over here and stuff.
There you go. There you go. Kaching, we are looking for info on that project. Yes, absolutely. It was Alephium you were talking about earlier. Yep. So that's in a nutshell. And it's not a bad thing. You know, for a wrap up, we want to sit there and see a sell off in the beginning of the week so we can see a increase into the beginning or to the end of the week.
All right.
about it, man. It's I can't believe it's already been almost 2 hours, man.
I know. We started a little later today, but Pedro and I around a couple of minutes beforehand, anyway. And the 2 hours went by really quickly today. But we had a lot of good people join us. We had the Stag people join us. We had the Phoenix guys join us. And Kaching, I think you were working on trying to get us a good contact at Dimension.
Oh yeah.
If you just let me know who the person is, I'll go find him in their Discord and invite him on the show. Talk about that. Speaking of, how is Dimension doing? I haven't followed them in a couple of days.
Yeah, they are. There we are, Dimension. Yeah, they are doing a little bit of a sell-off right now. They went sideways since we've last talked.
Ooh, they could use a nice little sell-off. What's their entry point?
Our entry point on this would have been, because we tapped in at this time. We got in right here. We wanted
I forgot to add that to our show's portfolio.
Yes.
Pit Monk, thank you very much. It's been a great conversation today. Yep, we'll do a little bit more research on Mainnet Z, and we'll cover them again. We'll obviously let you know when we're going to do that, so you can get the community to come out and participate like the Stag people did today. It's good to see them.
Absolutely, those guys, all of them. I mean, I think these guys really great community. You know, I love seeing when communities come and just support that project. And you know, I don't think you're a community unless you literally have like religious fervency, where you're just like to the moon. You know, like I'm almost like that. There's that meme of that girl. She's crying about Trump. She's wearing the hat that's shaped like a female's anatomy. You know what I'm talking about? And it's great. It's funny. And a lot of times people will sit there and she's like angry. She's wearing glasses. She's a Caucasian woman. It's the reason why I bring that up is literally because I feel like that's what it needs to be. Like, if you're not that down for your project, are you really in a project? Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess that's a good point there, Pedro.
You know, that's the religious ferocity that you need to have. It's like, you know, to the moon or die. And I'm always like, well, let's pull back and maybe not die, but let's make sure you get some of that money back. You know, I want you to, you know, because it may not continue. And I'd rather have you some money than, you know, not. And if you have a moon bag, right, and that thing does a 10, 100, 2000x, even awesome. Dude, 2000x, that's just crazy. But we have seen it. I have seen it.
All right, Pedro, we got a request from the audience here, something called Respan.
Okay.
And I don't have any idea what it is, but a couple of people just mentioned it. As a matter of fact, looked like a coordinated effort between you guys, you shillers.
It's all good. Let me Respan.
Space Cat and Matt Rhodes says add Respan. Space Cat just said we should buy it for our portfolio, so maybe I will.
Respan. Is that my standard? How do we? What's the ticker symbol? Octopus gooses.
Give us some.
Respan. All right, let me see. Is this it right here? Respan? Am I saying it right here? Respan, yep.
Oh, Thomas, you idiot.
Not coordinate, just he brought it up and I support them too. Alright, let's pull them up.
Oh, you shillers.
Even if it was. Even if it was, it's not even.
Just kidding, you guys. We're all shillers at heart.
I don't. Yeah, I know, right?
Not sure about Respan.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think that was the right chart. Where are we trading? RSPN, Space Cat says. Which markets?
Yeah,
where is it traded here?
This right here. Respan, is this it right here?
While he's finding that, the show schedule this week, every day at noon, unless we post otherwise. I think we'll be on all week. I don't have any conflicts this week, unless, as many of you know, I also work for Mrs. Striking. Unless we have like a big thing pop up here, so I think we'll be on all week at noon. So join us, and maybe this Friday we can do a full rant Friday.
Full rant Friday with the big thing popping up. I'm sorry. I got that before you even left. I said, that's what she said.
It's on BSC if you're looking for the right one.
I am looking for it. IBSC. Yep. Did it just launch a few days ago?
Someone give us some alpha on that.
All right, come on. Respan. This is the one with the most volume here. 101K.
I gotta imagine only a few of them have liquidity.
Boom, 17. This was 17 days ago. This is one right here, 18 days ago. For Respan.
Oh, that one has no liquidity in it. The only ones that has
the ones up here. So I'm gonna the liquidity up here.
Well, that bottom one's got 609,000.
Let's see, but it was just.
No, the top one is the logo, so I'd go with the.
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely not it. Yes. Oh, RSPN, RESPCT.
RESPCT. What does it mean to me?
Suck to me. Anyways, so I think this is it right here.
That's good. It's probably both the top two or just two different pairs in them.
Yeah. So from just first view from the daily chart here, no. Just simply because, look, you can see here that even on this big day of retesting these lows, it ended green, but we didn't see a huge volume spike, right? And that's what we're really looking for. Let me go to smaller time frames here. Go to the hour. Do we have any real?
Well, there must be low liquidity in that.
Liquidity is 67,000 here, so.
Oh, I mean ratio to market cap.
Oh, gotcha.
I can't see their market cap. What is? Oh, let me.
All right, and here. He just gave me. All right, let me pull it up. Boom.
Oh well, no, it's got a good ratio. It's got it's got 67,000. I forget. Does Dex Tools show the combined pairs value or just the tokens value in the pair? Like PooCoin does it one way, and I forget how these guys do it.
Respan.
Oh, I remember you guys talking about Respan. I think, I remember there was a relaunch. Now I remember that.
All right, yeah. So me looking.
Yeah,
at this.
you see that it relaunched, and then when it relaunched, everyone pulled their money out, and it went down. That initial this right there went underneath their launch price, unfortunately.
But the fact is that they did see a nice little pump. This nice little pump was just when advertising started.
Got me. What needs to happen with that chart before you like it? It needs volume.
It needs volume, and in addition to this is the spot right here. I want to see it above these moving averages where I'm seeing not something like this, but something where it's just sustainable, that they have consistent amount of buyers that are stepping in and that are trying to push us high, and I can see a trending moving average on a higher time frame, whether it's a 4 hour, whether it's a 2 hour, for more than 2 days, 2 or 3 days, where it's consolidating, and then from there you want to see it start to find support on some higher time frame, whether that's a 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour chart.
All right, Pedro, what's this? I'm drawing on the thing here. What's the difference in price between this top of this red candle and the bottom red candle, or the top of the green and bottom of the green?
That's going to be 00019.
Yep.
Which is the peak, and then the low of that is going to be 0003012. So we're talking 1912. That's That's 7 points from the.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's 40% of their value in basically one trade on the way up and 3 trades on the way down.
Yeah.
Something seems a little off on that. Either there's some super fat bags that control this too much, or they're playing with the liquidity. I don't know. To me, the fundamental side of it, not the chart-looking guy like Pedro, something seems off with it still. But we'll put it on the list to follow. Respan.
Yeah, let us know, and then and mark on that note when you do put that in where it's at, so we can find it on Dex Tools. So.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, right. The non-KYC credit card. Now I remember. You guys, that's what I knew this would come back. I had that long speech the other day about non-KYC credit cards and how eventually you get burnt on them. They're just starting to advertise their debit and Visa cards where you can use them in crypto to buy anything. Yeah, usually these are an Asian bank of some sort, and they give you a $10,000 limit before you have to KYC. But just don't forget that eventually they want to have a course. Remember, we had the correspondent bank talk someone out there. Eventually, they'll want to have a proper U.S. banking relationship, and to do that, they have to send the IRS all of the list of their American citizen holders. And that means they'll come KYC you. Be careful with those things. If you use them and you run undeclared income through it, just know you're going to get burnt. Nothing wrong with using their cards. And in fact, it'll help, keep big data off of you. If you want to buy stuff that you might not want big data knowing about, that's always a good thing. But don't try and hide any money on that. It's just not going to work. Eventually, the bank will get a new executive, and they'll say, we want to have a stronger relationship with the U.S. dollar, and they'll have to have a proper correspondent banking relationship. And they have to send all your info to the IRS, so they'll come asking for it. The cards are all from the States. Space Cat, I'm gonna give you the big. It's hard to even get a prepaid card now without KYCing it. Anyway, we'll pay attention to that. We'll pay attention to it. Anyway, that's all I got. All I got to talk about today. I know you and I can talk about things forever, but I got some other stuff to do in the real world. But we had a good show, ladies and gentlemen. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
We've had over 70 viewers. The YouTube algorithm's a little slow right now, so it'll probably pop up to around 80 on the live. Average view 24. If you guys step away from your desk, leave our show running. That's all I can ask, is leave our show running, because YouTube's counting watch time more than anything else now. The likes help a lot, and the chat, live chat during the event actually helps tremendously. And watch time. It's the interaction and engagement. And they've kind of demoted likes and comments after the effect because the bot guys were ruining that. But watch time really counts more than ever, and we've got a good watch time, almost a half hour now on this show. And thank you to everybody. And thank you that today we had $25 in super chat revenue. I can't thank you guys enough for that. That really helps. And one day, Pedro and I, once we get enough to make a difference, Pedro and I are going to do something with it. Promote the show. Travel to Ibiza for hookers and booze.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
I don't know about that one for me. Definitely not for me. But
oh, I love that story. If you haven't heard me tell that story, that's a great story. But it doesn't mean I went to Ibiza for that. I had a business partner that wanted to do that, and I knew the business relationship was going to end in disaster, and it did.
Like a fiery hill,
like a reverse phoenix.
Like a reverse.
The flaming project went to the ground and died in a dud. That was my business partner wrecking the whole thing. Anyway, like I said, the show's going to be on. As you can see in the box over here, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be on Wednesday, 12 p.m. I will be here. Pedro will be here. And if you have any topics that you want us to talk about, send us a message. We'll research them and bring them up on the show. We will not be talking about Respan tomorrow. Maybe we will. You never know. Never know what we can be coaxed into talking about.
By the way, Rhodes, Thanks for joining us, man. You've been here, man. I mean, I like him. Is he new? Are you new? Have I seen him before?
He came to us from Stag, right?
Yes, man. Thanks for coming, man. I like you, dude. Yes, sir, man. Come through. And love your energy, man. I love how you are, man.
Sir.
Sir,
Wrong,
my
wrong
bad.
glass, sir. Name the movie there, viewers. Viewers name the movie, and you win. Wrong glass, sir.
Newer
to the show, but I'll try to be more consistent. Well, if we
come
talk
through,
about
man.
stuff you like, you'll naturally be more consistent. If we start talking about the movie Barbie, you probably won't come back.
Pinky's up. Pinky's up.
That would be the Blues Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. Wrong
Yes,
glass,
yes.
sir. That was some of that 69 Dom Perignon. Space Cat says, that's why only Canadians and Americans can get the actual card in their hands. Everyone else in the world has to be digital for now. All right, so there is an actual card. Good news. All right, ladies and germs, that's all for today. Thank you very much and for joining us again. Pedro, good show. We'll see you tomorrow. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to have hosted another episode of DYOR Live. Tomorrow we didn't mention Mr. Beast and Shib and all those, or today we didn't mention it, but tomorrow we'll have to mention it in all this type of stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. See you tomorrow.